All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, free mobile app. And we're going to talk a little Phils now. Scott Lauber is at the ballpark getting ready for the Phillies and the Rays. A couple of things to dive into on this series. How important is it? Well, we'll get into that. But first, let's bring Scott in to kind of get his thoughts on what happened yesterday, Scott, with the shakeup in the front office. And I guess I'll ask you, for the common Phillies fan out there, would you say that was a significant move, or is this just kind of background fodder? How would you kind of characterize what the Phillies did yesterday in the front office?
Yeah, it was a pretty significant move, Mike. I think one of the things Dave Dombrowski was charged with when he was hired in December was to kind of take a look under the hood and figure out why, why this playoff drought is been going on now for 9 years, and exactly what they can do better in their processes and all of those things. You remember John Middleton was pretty critical at the end of last season of the Phillies drafting and development. He said it's been a 100-year problem, but for a couple of pockets of time in franchise history, and Phillies have never done this very well. So part of Dombrowski's charge was to go in, figure out what's going right, what's going wrong. And what you saw him do yesterday was they removed their farm director. They removed Brian Minetti, who was the assistant GM that the farm director reported to. And Dombrowski was pretty clear about, and I thought pretty direct about, talking about how not everyone's on the same page, and that they need to rectify that. I think it's pretty clear that there's some conflict in terms of instruction and what they believe in as an organization. You hear about the Cardinal way and the Rays way, and organizations that have been really good at this through the years, that have a clear way of doing things. And I think the Phillies need to establish the Phillies way and kind of define what that is and decide how they're going to do it, because the way they're doing it now, I think Dombrowski has concluded is not working.
Yeah, and I guess it shows that Dombrowski has kind of identified that, hey, there are some problems with the way things are going in this front office. I've identified them. Is that why he makes the move effective immediately?
Yeah, I mean, look, he doesn't want to waste a whole lot of time in trying to find the right people to run this farm system. He's going to start the interview process next month when they come back from the long road trip that they're about to go on next week. And I think he wants to have people in place by the time the Florida Instructional League begins in late September, early October. And so, I think they want to do this right. They also want to do it. They want to do it quickly, because they want the right people in place so that they can go ahead and start to get ready for next year down in the minor leagues. And so I think it's something that they're going to take very seriously, and they're going to look very hard at and try to find the right people to kind of carry out whatever organizational vision that they're going to take here. And I think it was notable that Dombrowski talked about wanting to blend traditional instruction and coaching with the data-driven methods that they have kind of tilted toward in the last few years. They've hired a lot of people from Driveline Baseball out in Seattle. That's a very data-driven kind of think tank organization. Not to say one thing is right or one is wrong, but I think that there's a happy medium there, and there's a blend that they could be better at kind of reaching.
Yeah, I know that this farm system has been a problem for some time now. They're ranked at the bottom of almost all rankings around baseball. So that means this isn't a quick fix, though, right? They don't just bring somebody in and this thing just changes around. This when you have a problem in the minor leagues, that takes a while to kind of fix.
It does. It does. And it's not going to happen overnight. I think one thing that we always talk about is it drafting or development, right? Like, are you just drafting poorly and bringing the wrong people in, or are you stumbling when it comes to developing them in the minor leagues? It's not like football or basketball, right, where you draft guys and you bring them right in and they either work or they don't. In baseball, it takes years to kind of develop a player in most cases. And it's clear that Dombrowski feels like the issue is on the development side. I'm sure that there were years there. I know that there were years there where they didn't draft very well. They had 5 years in a row of top 10 picks, and it didn't really materialize. The amateur scouting director that they hired 2 years ago is a guy named Brian Barber. Dombrowski's a big fan of his. So regardless of what their drafts have looked like over the years, he believes that they have the right person in charge of their amateur drafting now. So what he wants to do is, or what he's identified is that, the problem is in the minor leagues, and the problem is developing these guys correctly in the right way and communicating with them and getting the most out of them. There's no one reason why Adam Hazley and Scott Kingery and Spencer Howard and Alec Boehm now have all regressed after they got to the big leagues, but they have. And there's some kind of there's some sort of a breakdown in terms of how they are communicating to these players that have to develop, at the upper levels of the farm system, and then develop once they get to the big leagues, and it's not working correctly.
Let's look at the team on the field, and I guess Rhys Hoskins is one guy. He's in the lineup tonight, but is this going to be kind of touch and go the rest of the way?
Well, it is for now. Girardi wouldn't commit to one day on, one day off per se, but it sounds like that's going to be the way it is for a while. You didn't see Hoskins yesterday in the lineup because they were facing a righty and they were facing a lefty tonight, and they wanted him available to play tonight. If he played last night, probably couldn't have played tonight. Will he play tomorrow? We'll see. Probably not. So they're going to be careful here, because what they don't want is they don't want him to re-injure that groin and then have to miss more time and go on the IL again. So if they can sort of ease him back and do it in a way where he can. Look, he came up last night with an opportunity to win the game, and if you're going to have to use him off the bench, that's the spot you want to use him in, and then you get a chance to play him tonight against the lefty. It's not ideal, but for now, it sounds like that's going to be the way it is.
Galvez is in the lineup for the first time tonight. He's playing shortstop. Now, the Rays have a lefty pitcher. How do you anticipate them using Galvez the rest of the way here?
Well, I think you're going to see a little bit of what you're seeing tonight, right? A lefty, so Galvez plays. A DD is a left-handed hitter. Didi Gregorius, he does not play. I think you might see that a bit. Gregorius is certainly a more productive hitter against righties than lefties. He struggled a lot against all pitchers this year, but typically the matchup's going to be better with him against a righty than a lefty. So I think you might see Galvez start at short a lot against lefties. I think you're going to see him play a little bit of third base. If there's a need to spell Gene Segura, and hopefully there's not, because he's been one of their more productive hitters all year long, you could see Galvez fill in there. So I think he's going to play quite a bit. But I think shortstop against lefties is one. And like I said, I think he can pick up some of those at-bats at third base when, if Torreyes tails off, or if they feel like they need to give Torreyes a break.
All right, Eflin back tomorrow. So you have Eflin, you'll have Suarez, you'll have Gibson, Nola, and Wheeler. That's a pretty good five here. They got to feel pretty comfortable with throwing those five guys out the rest of the way.
Yeah, that's what they were hoping for. They've been hoping for some time. Gibson was the trade deadline addition who makes them better and deeper in the middle of their rotation. And Suarez has pitched very well since they moved him in from the bullpen. It felt a little bit like robbing Peter to pay Paul, right? Like he was a big part of the bullpen. You take him out and you put him in the rotation, but he's done very well there, the way they hoped he would. It makes the rotation deeper. And now with Alvarado close to being ready to come back, Coonrod is back. They feel like their bullpen is a little, and of course they got Ian Kennedy to help the back of the bullpen as the closer. It bumps down Bradley, it bumps down Neris. So they feel like their bullpen's a little bit more well-stocked. But I got to tell you, if they don't start scoring more runs, it's not going to matter. The rotation and the bullpen are kind of crazy as to say, kind of less of the problem right now than the offense, which just is not producing.
Yeah, the offense obviously let them down last night. There's a lot of things down the stretch here. Defensively, they've been a problem. I want to get your opinion, when moving forward here. I guess we'll have to take a look at. But what they do with Boehm down the stretch here, I guess, is going to be something to kind of keep an eye on. What's your opinion on what happens with him down the road?
Boy, it certainly did not sound the other day when they sent him out like it was going to be just a couple of days and we'll bring the guy back, or even a few weeks. It sounded like they wanted to play every day and kind of get some of that confidence back, both, especially defensively, but but also just to kind of, get his at. I mean, it obviously was not a real, was not beneficial to him offensively to not be playing every day. So they want him to do that. I don't think you've seen the last of him this season. I think he'll be back in September to maybe help out off the bench or down the stretch somehow, but off the bench or back in the lineup. But look, I don't think it's going to be, it's not going to be in the next day or two or week or two. I think they're going to let him play down there for a little while.
All right. Scott Lauber, of course, covered the Phillies for the Inquirer. Phillies Rays tonight, and of course, Arizona is in town after that. Scott has the Phillies covered. Of course, follow him at Scott Lauber on Twitter, and the Phillies and the Rays tonight. And of course, it is Wheeler going for the Phillies, Yarball going for Tampa Bay. Scott, always a pleasure, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike.